Hello there, you're watching and listening to another Scoutcast on www.fantasyfootballscout.co.uk, and my name is Mark. Good evening.
My name's Granville. Good evening.
And my name's Jonty. Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen. Granville, I've got your cold, by the way. You may not be able to detect it in my voice, but I'm a bit Bonnie Tyler. I'm blaming you for bringing it into the office.
Yeah, I brought it to the office today. You didn't get it down the internet or anything.
No, I don't think you catch a cold over. Not that kind of virus.
Although I did have it last week, so you got. I said I had a slow connection.
Yeah, bit slack. Jonty, how are you feeling? Are you full of? Are you well?
Yeah, good. Yeah. I've got no cold. I'm fine. I'm feeling better than my my puppy at the moment, who's had a procedure that no gentleman wants to have.
Oh, he's had his knackers off?
Yes, and he's now got a cone around his neck. So if you hear some banging against doors and walls, that'll be a very annoyed puppy.
Is that a symptom of castration? You bang yourself against a wall?
No, it's a symptom of having a massive cone around your head.
Okay.
They always look so cruel, though. I mean, once you've got an itch,
yeah,
you know, you want to. It's just.
He won't be itching down there for a while.
Well,
you could be itching anywhere, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough of this
nonsense.
nonsense.
Now, just thinking about it.
Yeah,
enough of this nonsense.
Me feel a bit squirmish.
Welcome to the Scoutcast. We won't be talking about dogs knackers for very much longer. We'll be talking about fantasy football, not surprisingly. We won't be dwelling on my game week too much. We'll be talking, certainly, I reckon, at length about Granville's because, once again, he did rather well. So, yes, we'll be looking at our lineups of the game week 7 just gone. Looking ahead to game week 8, we've got Rough the Smooth. We'll be looking at some of the community game weeks, and hopefully there will be some tales of misery there to cheer me up slightly as I'm with cold and with an ailing team. And then we've got some questions in the community, lots to cover in that, lots to cover. I think there's various questions about Aguero, not surprisingly, although he did score tonight, don't panic. Man City in general, Wilson replacements, budget defenders, lots of stuff, metrics insight as well from Red Lightning. It's becoming a regular from Red Lightning, and I think Disable's got another off-the-wall question for us all. Jonty, is that right?
He has indeed, yeah. Look forward to that.
Okay, this game week then. Shall we start with myself? Let's get it out in the open. 43 points. I will say, do you not think I'm being unlucky, Granville, at the moment? I'll tell you why I think I'm unlucky, but, I mean, do you not going to cut me some slack?
No. What were your transfers this week? There were 2 Chelsea players. Well, you know, Chelsea aren't in good form, really, are they?
No, I was.
Well, talk us through your Chelsea. I mean, I'd got Zuma as well, so
yeah.
I can talk. But and Chelsea, I don't know. They're just really they're predictable in that they're leaking goals. They just don't look solid at the back. Mourinho's making a few panicky changes, I think, in the centre of the midfield. I don't know what's going on with them. I didn't see the game, and I know they got out of it till 2-0 behind, weren't they? They got out of it with a couple of late goals. So still, they're just not impressing me at all, and that's why I questioned why you wanted Hazard right at this minute.
I think basically I had Silva injured, right? So, and I had money in the bank, and I thought to myself, Newcastle away. I thought I saw enough of Hazard against Arsenal to think, well, maybe this is a turning point for him, and he'll blitz Newcastle. I didn't really see Newcastle going 2-0 up. I'm sure Mourinho didn't either. And I also looked ahead at the fixtures and thought, well, even now, you look at it, and Chelsea in the next 6 have got 4 home games. So Southampton, Villa, Liverpool and Norwich. Now, obviously, Southampton and Liverpool aren't easy games, even at the Bridge. And the way Chelsea are playing, there's no easy game. But I still think 4 home games in 6, having Hazard, I think he's got to do all right for me. Whether I hold on to him for that 6, it will much depend on how he does in the next 2. So it was a long-term view. I was trying to bank on the fact that he would eventually come good, much in the same way that Sanchez has, which we'll talk about later in the Scoutcast. But what I will say, where I was unlucky is I had a judgment call to make in goal. So I thought, right, okay, so I've got Butland home to Bournemouth. That's the easy option. That's what most will play. I need a bit of difference here, so I'm going to go McCarthy away at Watford because I don't see Watford scoring. And I watched Palace at Spurs and thought they look pretty tight. So I thought I'll play McCarthy because I think Palace will keep a clean sheet. They did keep a clean sheet, but McCarthy got dropped. And this is what I mean. I've had the Silva injury in the warm-up. I've had Gomez dropped, which, okay, was going to happen eventually, but that was just unlucky with timing. Elphick injury at the same time. Now McCarthy's been dropped. That, you know, it's at the moment nothing's falling for me.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it's your year whatsoever.
I think I think with McCarthy though, the writing was always on the wall there because you got Speroni coming back from injury. You got Hennessy, who's a good goalie as well, as is proved, and McCarthy's now going to struggle to get back in. I think.
I agree with that, but
you also had competition. So I mean,
hold on.
See, I'm going to back Mark up here because I think Palace. It didn't look droppable to me. He looked like he's. I don't know why he was dropped. I mean, has anything been?
He let one through his legs,
kept any clean sheets.
Right.
No, this is it. This is it. That's what I'm saying, right? So basically, Palace haven't they've kept 2 clean sheets in 22, and the very week that McCarthy has dropped, which I can accept, they kept a clean sheet. So it's not the fact that McCarthy has dropped, but it's McCarthy has dropped, and they kept the clean sheet to rub it in even more.
Yeah, but it doesn't rub it in that you would. It doesn't rub it in that you would have got those points. I refuse to. Well, yeah. Well, you sound like Sven there. Well,
there is an argument to say that if McCarthy played, they wouldn't have got a clean sheet.
Exactly.
There is an argument. It's not a very good one, but there is an argument.
Let's have a big argument about this. Yeah, you don't know whether he got the points or not. I don't agree with Jonty saying the writing was on the wall.
With Speroni coming back and Hennessy, got lots of competition.
Yeah, I know there's competition, but I don't think Hennessy's that great a keeper. Speroni, yes, but he's. They've all got issues. I thought McCarthy was definitely number one, and he wouldn't get dropped unless he had some really bad games. Well, there you go. I mean, maybe not enough clean sheets, but I'm not sure that it's made that much difference playing Hennessy. But what it means now is that they've got a clean sheet, so there's no chance of him reverting back to McCarthy.
No.
So he's out of it. I've got him.
Exactly. Well, that's okay because they've only got West Brom at home who can't score goals away from home, so it's not like I've lost out again, is it? That's what I mean. It's just
Also, I think you're okay because you've got Butland, and Butland is very impressive, and he almost doesn't need clean sheets at the moment because he's getting all those save points.
Yeah, I know.
And he's also got an assist.
That was a 5-point swing for me. At this stage, I need every point I can get. At the moment, I'm basically putting it down to I've just got to ride this out, and eventually something will happen. Something will fall for me eventually.
There'll be a tube strike or something. And the fixtures will work out.
Postponed. Yeah, I just can't do a thing right. Jonty, your game week, not much better. 47 points, nothing to shout about.
No, it was. I mean, I'm kind of okay with it really because it's basically Aguero captaincy once again. I went for it again. I mean, I'm not learning here with Aguero. And I had it on Payet for much of last week. I think I even mentioned in the Scoutcast he was currently on him. I mean, I would have only got 6 points more. From that, but nevertheless, it would have carried me over the 50 point mark. I got just above average, 47. But I got a clean sheet from Darmian. Payet got me 8 points. Wilson injury was bad news for me and lots of others. But the Aguero captaincy again, that was.
Hold on, Payet got you 8 points, so you'd have got 16 for his captaincy. You only got 4 for Aguero, so it's 12 points.
No, if I'd have got 16 from him, and then I would have got 2 points from Aguero, that's 18.
Yeah.
Or I would have got, yeah.
Mark, you played this game long enough to have worked that one out.
Yeah.
Just take one score, take the captaincy away, take one score away from the other, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
Yes, no. Anyway, I'm with Cold, as I said, but I'm pretty sure he's wrong on that.
And also, once again, I'm not learning about Wes Houlihan, am I? Another 5 points on my bench from him. But the worry one, I've got a few worry players now. Gomez is a worry. Not sure he's going to start. Pedro, I'm holding fire on. Not quite. His underlying stats aren't hugely impressive, but they're on a par with Hazard's. So if Hazard's going to do well, Pedro might do well. So I think they're tied in there. I'm happy with most of the other ones. I'm actually thinking, if I think Gomez is going to start, I'm actually going all-out attack chip this week because Houlihan's got a great fixture.
Yeah, left at home, yeah.
And all my other front eight have got good fixtures. Currently Gomez is on my bench, but if I think he's going to start, I think I might use that chip because it's one of those.
I think he will. I mean, the thing is with Swansea as well. I look at it, and not only has Hazard got 4 home games in 6, so has Swansea. So I've got Ayew and Gomez, and I think, well, obviously the knee-jerk thing is, well, I've got to get rid of Gomez. I'll probably keep Ayew, but then I'm looking at going, well, 4 and 6 at home. he's going to get points. I mean, he can score against Arsenal even. He's that type of player. He's such a handful. But he's not in form at the moment, so it depends. If he doesn't do anything against Spurs, then I am going to start worrying about it. And I've got fires to put out at the back, so I haven't really got a chance to suspend up front.
I think what your problem has been so far this season, your timing's been awful, because I think when I had double Swansea, do you remember I had a double Swansea about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and I was on here saying that I'm just not happy having double Swansea because they're going to come out of form, and I just wasn't that confident with it, and I had to choose one or the other. I think I made the good move, just keeping Ayew, but he hasn't done anything, and I'm still going to keep him because I still think it's good value.
Yeah, I mean, since I got Ayew, I chose Ayew over Payet, and
that's probably a mistake. Yeah,
but it was. I still look at the game. I mean, I looked at the game on Saturday, and Ayew he's more or less playing up front. I mean, he's getting far further forward than Payet is, and he's getting more goal scoring opportunities. But at the moment, Swansea just seem to lack the mojo. They've just lost it completely. But as I say, 4 at home in the next 6, they got a chance to get it back. And Tottenham at home is the game they raise it for.
I think I'd still prefer Payet. He's just more involved generally in the game, especially the way they're playing. On the break. I think he's gonna. Yeah, he's kind of the what was it? The season keeper. I think at the minute he looks like someone I want to keep for most of the season.
Yeah, Payet is. I'm so glad I got him in. He's pretty much saved me these. I mean, I'm still hovering around the $500,000 mark, but it's Payet who's done it with these odd goals and these assists. He's just very consistent. He's getting the bonus.
Let's not get overboard, because otherwise Mark will go and get him, and we don't want that, do we?
I'm sticking with Ayew because it's the whole thing of if I get rid of him, he'll come good, and if the fixtures were against him, I would think about it. But at the moment, I've got other fish to fry, and I think it's worth keeping the faith. I think my tactic is going to be I'm changing my defence as much as I can. I'm just going to keep my attacking players and hope that they click, because they're good players. It's just not happening for me. So Granville, come on, 60 points. Tell us all about it. Come on, have a go.
It's about time you came to me. You should have come to me first.
No, I wanted to leave you to last. Best to last.
Okay. Well, what can I say? I mean, Sanchez. We all had Sanchez. None of us captained him because he wasn't. First goals of the season. Yeah. Hat trick. We knew it was coming. We knew points would come in because of his underlying stats. I also felt that Coutinho would do all right as well, eventually. Good underlying stats, always as involved as Payet. He had loads of shots in the game. Who did he play last week? Where he missed a couple of really good chances.
Was it the Villa game?
Yeah, they played. Was it Norwich? They played Norwich.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
He had a couple of good chances, and I just felt that he's another one who's bubbling up nicely. Payet, we've spoken about. Marshall was the captain.
Tony Marshall.
Yeah, he did get an assist. He could have scored. He looked so dangerous. Do you see him tonight?
He had a good game, apparently. I didn't see the game, as you know. I don't watch midweek matches. I'm rationed. But I heard he had a good game. Didn't score, though, did he? So panic, I presume, now. 2 goals without a goal. Must be mass panic amongst the Marshall owners. No?
You only have to watch him to see that he is a real deal. I think at the minute, I think he's playing really well. I mean, Depay was the one who gave way again. Interestingly, he had an all right game. His delivery wasn't that great. His decision making wasn't that great. He's only young, but the thing is with Marshall, he's just got pace to burn, and it just makes chances for himself.
Well, let's see what he does. Arsenal, Everton away next, then City at home. Let's see how he does in those 3. Jonty and I are certainly in the camp where we're going to wait and see, I think.
Oh, definitely. I mean, if you were going to get Marshall in, last week was the week to do it. The Sunderland game, I was very, very nervous about not owning him. I was so nervous. I pretty much captained him and had him in virtually every other fantasy game I had. And he was actually very good in this Sky game because he got man of the match. So he ended up getting 20 points there. So I was pretty pleased with that.
Yeah, in UFPL he got a couple of extra because I think he created a couple of chances.
I actually took a loan in UFPL my first season. And you get this, I got rid of Aguero for a week for Marshall.
Maverick, that is.
I know. Yeah. I spent 3 points on that.
But he got nosebleed at that point.
But he got me 14 points as captain, whereas Aguero would have got me 4. And all of my other options would have got me 4 as well over Sunday.
See, what was I saying last week? I says you and Mark will eventually have him in your teams.
Oh, come on!
I didn't say which game.
Oh, come on! He's not in any of my teams.
Will
anyway, Aguero's back in UFPL next week. So
yeah. So what I did in UFPL is I had Marshall and I had him captained, and he scored 7 points. And for the first time in ages, I rested on my laurels and thought, Lukaku's not going to get more than 7 points. Let's go. You got 18 points. I think it was 18, or was it more? It was just.
Rewind a bit, Granville. Did you get Marshall on loan, or did you get him on before the window closed?
Before.
Oh, so you took a punt on him, did you? Right.
It wasn't a punt. I told you this last week.
Well, it wasn't that point.
It's common sense.
No, at the end of game week 4, going into game week 5, I think that was quite a maverick move on your part, really, to back him. Well, because you didn't know he was going to get regular starts at that point.
Exactly, but I just felt that, I mean, like UFPL, you can afford to take a little bit of a risk. You know, you've got the thing is, I have so many dilemmas every single week, on especially on the forwards, which 3 to play. I mean, this week I didn't play all the ones, loads of players who scored as well. Gested, for instance, and he got a brace. So it's really difficult. So I thought, well, I'll just put in some risky ones, and if he doesn't play. You know, he's not going to be starting. But I felt that he would. He'd at least get a position out wide. But as it happens, he's got. He looks like he could be playing striker all season.
Let's talk about Kolarov, because yet again a blank. 0 points this time. Well done, John T. Thanks for that.
Yeah, killed him, ruined him.
Absolutely, put the mockers on him.
Yeah, did you see? I got Evans in this week, so there goes the West Brom clean sheet.
I'm going to stay clear. I'm going to
stay clear of whoever I'm getting in next.
So you can't pick defenders, John T, at the moment.
No, it's nowhere near an inferno though, and I avoided the petroleum-based Zuma.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. He did. Yeah. He's a bit of a firelighter. Yeah. There's a theme going in. Yeah. I know. Well, we'll see. We'll see. I'm a bit nervous. Zuma won't play on Saturday because he played in Europe
and also he was at fault. He was at fault for the goal for one of their goals.
No, he wasn't. I had a look at that. He wasn't at fault. I mean, it was mainly Ivanovic got done out wide again. Ivanovic, and then Ramirez didn't mark on the corner, so it wasn't Zuma. They had no one on the post though. But I mean, the thing is, Zuma will play when they're playing opponents with pace, and I kind of hope that they bear Mane in mind when they face Southampton at the weekend, because Pella, no pace whatsoever, and you probably get away with Terry on Pella.
I just wonder. Yeah, I just think Terry on Pella. I think he'll get Terry back in, because I just think he needs an experienced defender for that, and I think it'll be between Zuma and Cahill, whichever. Yeah. No,
I think so. So it'll be interesting. Zuma may not play, but that's okay, because I've got Joe Gomez. And
I mean, you're worrying me now.
You got Elphick, haven't you?
Who's injured?
Who's injured?
So, for the first time in years. So.
And you got Kolarov, who I've ruined.
Yeah. So I might have to take a hit for a defender, and I can never do that. So.
Yeah. Who did you captain, Mark? You captain.
I went for Hazard, so I did all right. 5 points. That's a booty bonus this season. So I ain't,
still struggling though, aren't we? I mean, I've had 2 assists out of all my captains. It's not really good enough. I mean, this week we've got Aguero playing home to Newcastle. Is it going to continue?
Well, we'll definitely come to that later.
We're getting on to that. Let's go to rough with the smooth, like John T. Let's hear some community tales.
Okay, well, I'm going to go with the smooth first, so make us feel a little worse than we do. These are smooth stories from Sanchez captainers. So Coutinho avoided the lure of Marshall, got in Pella instead as his striker, and then moved the captaincy to Sanchez, and he went up a million places.
Pellerin's a smart move, very nice.
He got Pellerin, AA also captained the Arsenal man, and he also got in Payet and Dawson as part of a 8-point hit. So that worked out rather well. And just another Sanchez captainer, but he did bench Lukaku, but he doesn't mind because he captained Sanchez. And another smooth here, we've got Sturridge captainer here.
Okay.
RCA, Roy's caller Anne. He drafted him in, captained him straight away. So that's pretty good, because he was part of a massive hit, which involved getting rid of 3 players that didn't actually play. So Costa, Benteke, and Silva.
That's a big call on Sturridge, isn't it? Because I don't know. To step back into form like that.
Yeah, it's a big call. Definitely, I think it is. I know he'd scored the week before.
I think it's a big call. I thought it was a big call. I mean, we spoke last week. You were saying I was actually tempted to get rid of Sanchez, and as we'll find out, there were quite a few others in the rough. So let's hear from these Sanchez ditchers. Boris Vidoga transferred out Sanchez to Payet early in the week. Chucky77 ditched Sanchez for Hazard. We captained. That cost him 30 points.
He's presuming he would have captained him. I guess
he would have captained Sanchez. Skipped to the end, got rid of Sanchez for KDB from Manchester City as part of a hit. Sparrow Army also ditched Sanchez, this time for Payet. So they were getting in okay players, but nowhere near. Sparrow Army, he got 29 points, so he would have got. So he would have done okay. And finally, a final rough here is bench blunders. So there's a rival, not Johnny Kills, it's a rival of his. He's kindly outed. He hasn't given him his name, but he wildcarded. But as part of that wildcard, managed to bench Mane, Dyer, and Dawson. That's 3 goals on his bench. And Eden Hazardous benched Vardy, who's been a bit of a sensation so far.
I like the idea of people putting in people in their mini league for the rough. That's quite nice.
Yeah, that's quite good.
Kind of out people who've got nothing to do with the community. Just let's just laugh at them.
Yeah, I mean that's quite good. Wildcarding, all that time wildcarding, and then leaving 24 points on your bench. That's that's something to laugh at.
It's going to hurt. And to be fair, like Dyer at home to City. Dawson home to Everton. I mean, he scored in there, I guess. Mane. Yeah, I mean, Mane, you probably would have seen that. You would have played him. Difficult, but obviously when you wildcard, you pick 15 good players. You build these dilemmas, don't you? So it's very, very tough indeed. I mean, selling Sanchez, the stats we're going to talk about later on, but the stats were a big signpost going, do not shift him out, because in terms of goals imminent, John, he must have been top of your table.
He was top by miles, absolute miles. There was few solid. You expect Aguero to be there, but and the interesting thing is Sanchez. It wasn't just in goal attempts. He was actually hitting on target. He was doing everything right,
and all in the box as well.
All in the box. And then I watched the highlights of the Arsenal game, and it just clicks. And all of those goals, nothing overly spectacular. He was just right place. Clinical, absolutely fabulous to watch. He looks like he's back. He's going nowhere from my team.
You think he'll attract a few captainers this week? Home to United on the back of the hat trick.
I wouldn't captain him. I think you've got to have him because I think he's got a good chance of scoring in that game because it's going to be a game of... you'd have thought... It depends how Van Gaal turns up. He may turn up, keep it very tight, and it'd be 1-0 or either way, I reckon.
I can't see a haul. I can't see him getting 2 or 3. I mean, it could be famous last words here. He could score, yes, but I can't see Man U conceding an enormous amount. Also, Man U, you probably know better than me, Granville, Man U's record against Arsenal is pretty good over the years.
Especially
at the Emirates,
hybrid. I said hybrid. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Rolling back the years there, Granville. Yeah. Rolling back the years. I mean, Arsenal got Watford away, Everton home after that. Fixtures aren't terrible. Sanchez is fixture-proof, so it doesn't really matter who he plays. But it depends how tight that game is. And I would say that Van Gaal will keep it tight, try and control the game possession, and it will strangle it a bit. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
How we do for transfers in for Sanchez? He would have attracted a lot despite the fixture, I would have thought.
I'll have a quick gander. While Jonty prepares the first question.
Yeah. Well, let's have a look at the first question. It's a bunch of questions on Aguero. So Aguero is the hot topic at the moment. Adam West asks, is there a case for selling Aguero, even with Newcastle and Bournemouth at home? Your Mum's Athletic basically says Aguero blind faith in captaining him, or are we now just foolish? Doolittle asks, are we just captaining Aguero out of habit? Is this some kind of weird kind of like zombies going to the shopping mall?
Or fear.
Or is Sturridge now viable heavy hitter captaincy option? So what a question. I mean, Granville, where do you've got Aguero in your team? Are you going to captain him? Where do you?
I'm trying to find an excuse not to, but it's very difficult to find one. I've just been stung so many times this season with him, and I don't know. I can't really see much else to do this week. I mean, I'm not going to captain Sanchez at home to United. The West Ham away to Sunderland would be, for Payet is an option, I suppose. It's just a little bit risky, and I think I'm doing actually quite well at the minute. I just want to take what would be a big risk. It's probably silly because I just have a hunch that Aguero is going to let us down yet again, even at home to Newcastle.
I do. It's the opposition. I think if it was anyone else, but when it comes to Newcastle or Sunderland, I see. I just think he's going to have those attempts, and even if he's not, I mean, we've got some stats on him. I mean, he's just 2 shots on target in the last 4 game weeks. But he's having the attempts. Had 14 goal attempts. And remember that includes a match where he was subbed off very early through injury.
And I know he scored the winner tonight, but he did miss. I think it was like 1 out of 4.
He missed quite a few, and so he's getting those goal attempts in, which is what you want from Aguero. But he's not clinical, and it's that shots on target, which is woeful, really. So, yeah. It's really tough. I mean, we can see there why he's failing. I mean, in comparison, say someone like Pella, he's got 22 goal attempts to Aguero's 14, but he's got seven shots on target. So yeah, I mean, it's still as a ratio on a par perhaps, but Pele's just peppering the goal. And I just think against Newcastle, I think Aguero is going to get much more chance because I mean Newcastle away are absolutely abysmal. Same as Sunderland, they're capable of. It's capable of a massive hiding, actually.
So a few facts on this. I mean, he's got 2 goals now in 8 for City. Both of those goals are penalties, though. One at Sunderland and one tonight in the Champions League. So even the goals he has scored in the last 8 are pretty poor. I looked last season at the dry spells he had. He had 1 spell of 5 in March without a goal, and then he had a spell of 6. Although the first one of those was prior to an injury over Christmas, so really it was another 5-match spell without a goal. So last season he never really went beyond 5 matches without scoring, and he kind of, although he hasn't done that this season as yet, he's getting that point now. If he goes at Newcastle and doesn't score, he's gone 5 games, and he hasn't scored from open play in 8. So
that's just in the league though, isn't it? Because
it's Champions League as well. So
he scored tonight.
Internationally, he scored.
It was a penalty tonight.
Yeah, penalty tonight as well. I mean, looking at his stats, I've done some comparison on it in the way he's looking, and there is reduction across the board. He's getting fewer goal attempts, fewer in the box. He's basically having a shot every 19 minutes compared to 17 minutes last season. But that still, a shot every 19 minutes is an extraordinary rate, and it's quicker than most around there. So you still got. I still think you've got to keep faith in him, even though it has been dropped. And looking at his KPIs, the big drop is in shots on target. That has gone down by 23%. So he's had a shot on target, 23% reduction in the frequency of that compared to last season. Across the board, though, elsewhere, the reductions are minimal. So it's, I don't know, he's touching the ball less in the box, so maybe City aren't getting it to him in the right areas enough.
Yeah,
maybe they're getting
that's a Sterling factor or something. Maybe the delivery's bad, possibly. I can't think of much else really that's changed.
No, I don't think there's room for panic, though. I mean, the fixtures, again, he's another one with 4 at home and 6. So I don't think there's need to get rid of him. The captaincy is a different issue.
Yeah, it's the captaincy, I think, is the thing. I mean, I wouldn't get rid of him. Also, the thing about getting rid of him, say he does suddenly hit form, does a Sanchez, 13 million, well, that's really tricky to get back.
Yeah, that's surgery, isn't it?
That's major surgery. That's hits, so you probably mitigate, that's a goal, same points for a hit as for a goal. I think it is the captaincy. I'm going to captain him. I can't not against, but against Bournemouth, I don't know. If he does nothing against Newcastle, then I think that'll be the end of my captaincy of Aguero for the time being.
When did you last not captain him?
Well, the 2 times I haven't captained him, I've had success. Rooney, first game week, and Benteke with his disputed goal. 9 points he got me there. So clearly there is a history, a small history of me doing very well by not captaining him.
I do actually have another option for captaincy, and that's Marshall. Against that Arsenal defence. I mean, now they're letting in a lot of goals recently. Against Olympiacos.
I think I'd be more tempted by Mata, just because he's a little bit more in fantasy points term. He's got the goals, assists, and he's on penalties. They're just a bit in a tough game on paper.
I think he's just coming off his best game in the United shirt as well tonight.
Yeah.
But that's what I can remember.
But no, I mean, as someone who's failed with their Aguero captaincy for so many weeks now, whoever you say now, I'll probably say that's fine.
But this isn't the week to do it, though. I mean, this is, for me, I just think it's too much of a home banker for Aguero, and I don't think the options elsewhere are that quite strong enough.
Yeah, if they were a bit stronger, then they'd probably take the risk. I just don't think West Ham away from home at Sunderland. Yeah, it'll be a bit of a gamble, but it's there. I'll have to think about it. Well, you two have already ditched Wilson, I noticed.
Yes. Well, Wilson replacements. We're getting onto that.
Yeah, we'll get onto that, and I'll come to that. But I made mine whilst watching Match of the Day on Saturday. I was so impressed with this player.
Well, I think I know where you're going, and I think I've got there too.
We'll come to that later. So, next question. I mean, it's looking at this very interesting one from Chin Music about fifth midfielders. Now, I don't have that. I've got Houlihan, so I've got a kind of rotational midfielder.
That's not really working for you, though, is it?
Well, it's not, because I mean, in a way, he's too good. But then if Gomez, but anyway, so Chin Music's one's about people who have a fifth midfielder. So we're talking about your Westwoods and these kind of 2-point players. So he was wondering, are we too fixated with our bench lineup? It sees lots of people having these fifth midfielder as the first one, whereas he's wondering now, should we be looking more at defenders and having a really good fifth defender, as he calls it? So you have your 2 defenders, but one of those defenders is a really good one. So perhaps an example this week would have been perhaps Dawson. So say for example you didn't fancy West Brom clean sheet against Everton, Dawson ahead of that fifth midfielder. I mean, I think that's a reasonable strategy this season. Yeah,
I mean, I looked at there was 1 clean sheet last week in the game. There was 2 actually. There was United and Watford. That doesn't bode well unless you can find goal scorers and goal.
But that's it. It was. I think it's players like say for example Janmat, who is getting those attacking points. That's a great defender to either play or have as a first on your bench.
I mean, I'd looked at Janmat, and the problem is that Newcastle just aren't going to get a clean sheet.
No.
And they're regularly letting in 2, so that's already -6, -5. Sorry. I just don't think it's worth it for the amount of times that it's going to end up scoring in a game like this where your first 11 is so important. I'm just not sure that would actually have a fourth, play 4 at the back, which is what I guess that's what you're alluding to.
I think you've got to have attacking threat from it. And Janmat is one. Francis at Bournemouth, perhaps.
Yeah.
Won't get clean sheets or will pick up the odd assist. And these guys will get bonus if they do happen to keep a clean sheet as well, because it seems to be that attacking fullbacks we put in a lot of crosses seem to be favoured at the moment this year as a result of the changes. Cedric goes as a good one at 5 million, who seems to be still in favour, in and out of the team. You can't rely on him perhaps, but it'd be. I mean, so if you're going to spend 4, 5, or 5 on a fifth mid, then there's an argument there. The trouble is, as Jonty has found, it's very difficult to pin down 3 good defenders, let alone try and go 4 or 5.
Yeah, I mean, I ditched Wes Morgan from Leicester. I got him in at the beginning of the season. I just thought this is he's going to do me well. And what happened? I mean, he had attacking threat last season. He had attacking threat, clean sheets, the lot, all for a budget price tag, and he's done absolutely nothing. So it's time to go. I don't think he'll do anything, perhaps all season. So gone. I'm happy with the West Brom.
Well, they're playing very open, aren't they, under Ranieri? I don't think we're going to see many clean sheets at all. I just don't think it's worth having him, even for that goal threat from.
I think some of the Villa ones are quite good in that, not clean sheets, but Richards gets the odd assist. Marvey as well, very good.
Marvey's just a bit expensive though. He's fine.
Yeah,
I did have a look at him.
And also these Spurs lads, they're getting surprise clean sheets. Plus they're getting some goals in them.
Yeah.
I think these are good fifth defenders. Arguably they're better than your traditional 4.5 million bench fodder midfielder. So
well, you look at it, the Dyer, Alderweireld,
Toby, Alderweireld,
both and Vertonghen are all outscoring Chadley, who's the highest rated midfielder. I think Lamella's one to look at though.
Getting onto midfielders there. Onto midfielders. Interesting differential. Budget defenders. There's a question on that, isn't there, John? To which leads into that.
Eden Hazardous asked suggestions for budget defenders, and FPL Henry on the same lines. Who should we replace Gomez with? So looking for budget. So one of the things I looked at was looking at our season ticker. which looking at the kind of 4 best clean sheet potentials over the next 4, and it goes in the following order: West Brom, Stoke, Sunderland, Man City, Newcastle, Chelsea, Norwich, Tottenham. So we mentioned a few of those already. I mean, of those, I think we can discount Sunderland. I think we can discount Newcastle except Janmaat. So Janmaat's an option there. I would say he's a good option. West Brom, I think Dawson or Evans, another couple of great options. I'd probably avoid a Stoke defender myself. But Norwich, you got that Martin in defence there.
The ace can't score Martin, who going back to that previous question, will be a good fifth.
I think he's a very good choice. And then of course you've got some Tottenham defenders as well, who are got a bit of rotation there. So they're coming in at quite cheap price tags.
Yeah, I mean, Ben Davies is 4-5, and he started the last 3 and seemed to be holding off Danny Rose. So if you're looking at it, I mean, I've got to get a Gomez replacement in. I've got to get an Elphick replacement in as well. So I'm going to be shopping in there for the 4-5 defenders next week. If I don't, I'm not going to take a hit. I might. So yeah, next week I will be. I don't know. I probably will spend 5 low because I've got money in the bank, and I'll probably get a cast iron solution rather than take that risk with a 4-5. But we'll see. I mean, Ben Davies is an option, I think, at 4-5. I think,
yeah, I think so.
Worth looking at. There's not a lot else though at the moment, unless you're going Russell Martin, who. Yeah, he's not going to keep his goal scoring up, obviously, but he clearly is a factor at set pieces, so could go on rewarding, I guess, to a certain extent. So Wilson replacements. Yeah, lots of questions on this, wasn't there? Yeah,
so the Colonel, simple one. Who's the best replacement for Wilson? Blame it on Traore. Talks about Gested as an option. The Nutman asks about Berahino. Is it time for him? And for those with a bit more money, a Seal saying, what about Pella? Yes, indeed. What about Pella? And there's another name that they haven't mentioned there, and I'm sure it's the player that Mark has got in, as well as myself, probably on Saturday night as well.
Yeah.
And that's, I presume, Jamie Vardy.
Yeah, I mean, I actually didn't see match day on Saturday. Had I seen it on Saturday, I watched it Sunday morning, so I missed his price rise.
Yeah,
I didn't quite realise how. I mean, I didn't look at the stats as well. He hit the woodwork twice, didn't he? It was absolutely extraordinary against.
Because it's something. I mean, as listeners will know, I like my stats, but seeing the player, even on just highlights, seeing them, you get a picture of it. Like, say for example, Coutinho, I think is a great. It's a good option, especially with assists. I don't think he's a good goal option, even though he's got a huge amount of goal attempts. Because when you watch his strikes at goal, they're quite weak. He's not a striker of the ball, but he's got that potential, and eventually some goals will go in. But you look at Jamie Vardy, wow, he was all over the shop, and he was at every chance he got. He was going. It's absolutely on. I saw that. I saw the price rise. I saw that Wilson was likely to go down. I saw that Vardy was going to go up. Whilst I was watching it, there, click off in my team straight away.
Well, he's been the most popular signing this week. I think 250,000 transfers in. Granville's shaking his head. He obviously presumes we're jumping on bandwagons here. No, almost 300.
Well, the thing is, what makes me laugh is that you've only just noticed him after. I know there's a Mahrez factor, and it's difficult getting 2 Leicester players in, and trusting Leicester enough to have 2 Leicester players in. The thing is, I looked at the fixtures. And they're reasonable.
Reasonable?
They're really good.
Yeah, they're good.
The thing is, we haven't been considering him because we both got Wilson. So, or all 3 of us have got Wilson. So
yeah, I mean, if you got Wilson, why would you get rid?
Yeah. So Vardy was always on the radar. I mean, he was always on the watch list high up. But then, when you look at those 2 finishes against Arsenal, the way he took those goals, there's a different level of confidence in his game now. Even he started well, but he was missing chances early on in the season. He was snatching at things a bit. He got a couple of headers, but those 2 finishes against Arsenal were top draw.
Yeah,
he had other opportunities, and he was very unlucky not to get a hat trick.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I think he does create as well.
Yeah,
he's all over the shop.
Well, he's getting returns. And that's really what you want from a fantasy player, isn't it? It's that reliability. So maybe Leicester might lose, but maybe he'll get an assist. For 6 million, I mean that's a fantastic return. Getting assist, a goal, maybe 2 goals, the chance of a brace as well. Brilliant, absolutely fantastic Wilson.
Jonty, what's your view on the double Leicester though? Because you've got Mahrez as well. Are you worried about it?
Well, not really. If they keep scoring, I think I've said before last Scoutcast, I never really had a problem with it. I got Sturridge and Suarez in as soon as both were fit, and that didn't. I mean, if a team is scoring lots of goals and it's usually the same 2 or 3 doing it, well, and especially they're so cheap as well compared to the others. I mean, we're not talking 10 million players here. So I don't have a problem with it, and of course we can move with form, and the fixtures are good. Maybe Jamie Vardy will suddenly go completely off the boil. Maybe he'll get rotated.
Maybe the Kolarov curse will strike again.
Maybe the Kolarov curse will strike. Maybe I've cursed him. But if that happens, well then I'll just shift him on to some of these other names I mentioned. So Gested has been mentioned, Igalo, one of my old favourites as a Brighton fan, Murray, who's now of course the main man up front for Bournemouth. So there are options in that price bracket now. I mean, apart from Wilson and apart from Vardy, who to get in. So it's a place within my starting 11. I'm not too worried about at the moment.
No, I think for me, Vardy was head and shoulders above her. Even if you've got Mahrez, I think at the moment the confidence there and the fixtures: Norwich, Southampton away, Palace at home, West Brom away, Watford at home, Newcastle away. So 4 away games in 6, but the way Ranieri's setting them out, as in, they're conceding goals, so they're chasing goals. They're chasing goals that they're having to, because the back 4 can't keep anyone out.
Yeah,
and are just essential.
I agree with you. I think it's difficult. It's difficult to ignore this week, especially and it's with Wilson being out. It's disappointing.
Oh, we've lost him there.
Nope. He's gone off to transfer Vardy, I bet you.
Cut midstream there, yeah, never mind. I think he was agreeing with us, Jonty, so I think that's probably what it was. I think he's not allowed to agree with us too often, and he's hit his limit, and he's gone. There he's back in it. I think it was a cut and dry transfer, that one. Should we move on to, because we talked about Sanchez, and we looked at his transfers in and out. 107,000 transfers this week after the avalanche of points with a hat-trick against Leicester. So he is second behind Vardy. It's surprising. Yeah. I think only 16% of managers had him going into the weekend, maybe even less than that, because I think it's just about that now.
I know, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and the numbers, I mean, you're right when you said about the stats making a difference. He was top of the goals imminent table. And is it a time now? Is it? I mean, I wrote an article for the Premier League this week saying, is it a time to go back to the heavy hitters? Because now we saw Kane score, we saw Sturridge score. These are guys who generally produce fantastic stats, and
Rooney as well. Rooney scored.
Yeah.
I think there is a case for that. I think some of the bigger teams are finding their feet. Manchester United are a team I'm looking at. It's coincided with terrible fixtures, but they've got great form. So they're a classic form versus fixtures. And Granville was talking about Marshall being a classic captain choice for this week. And I think Mata as well is looking good. And then you're looking at, compared to those two, Rooney's not perhaps such a great option. But then also with Arsenal as well. Now, a player we all looked at game week 1 and then promptly got rid of, Theo Walcott. I mean, he's looking the best striker clearly. I mean, he's really getting those goals in. Two goals there in the last 4 game weeks. He's had his shots on target. He had 22 goal attempts, 11 shots on target. I mean, that's phenomenal.
It's almost worth wondering whether we consider him even with the rotation, because I think against United, there's every chance Giroud will start.
I mean, as we're talking about doubling up. Walcott, Sanchez. I mean, those who got him then last game week would do well. I can see that happening again. Arsenal, one of those teams, they can turn a team another side over. I mean, you've got those. I think Walcott's a big option as well. Yeah, so I do agree. I think it's time for some of the heavy hitters. And of course, Kane's now benefiting from Eriksen being back. I think that's a major thing. And also Lamela. He's putting in some very impressive creativity stats coming in. He's looking like he's probably ousted Chadley. I mean, if you were to be, if as long as they're sensible in the management at Tottenham, that would look a sensible move. You've got creative people. You've got a good striker. Well, stats are back in vogue, and not surprisingly, it's interesting that the Fantasy Football Scout League did very well last week with the Sanchez points, and now we're 3rd overall in the League of Leagues. Jason Smith, who's top of the Fantasy Football Scout League, went up to I think 58th in the world.
And it's no coincidence that suddenly, when the stats start paying off, when the your study of the stats starts paying off with players like Sanchez, suddenly people who visit the site start doing better. So I'm hoping that it will start being the case, and we'll see these players that we traditionally will turn in profit actually come good. I mean, there's a community article coming up on stats, is there not?
There is, yeah. So it's one of our community writers, Raki, is got a rather dramatically entitled article coming out tomorrow called "One Stat to Rule Them All," where he's used something very complicated and mathematical that's very beyond my feeble mind to find out which of the many stats, shots in the box, chances created, shots on target, is actually the greatest indicator of fantasy points, so goals and assists, and those that see that tomorrow will see that it's basically shots on target, absolutely the biggest indicator there. Big chances as well. So chances created is quite low down, but big chances, that's the key one there. So these are the players we need to be looking out for: shots on target, big chances, and then next up, just behind, is shots in the box. That's one I always favour as well. He argues actually in his article that perhaps I should be moving towards more shots on target to look at. I agree with him as well. I was speaking on the site with Duzra earlier about this, and he's a big fan of shots on target, and that's something I think I will look at more. But some of the other ones, like touches in the penalty area, passes received in the final third, these are quite low down on the list. These are kind of mere indicators of the potential there that you could look at in conjunction with other things.
For me, they're an indicator of whether a player is getting obviously more involved or less involved than usual. With the comparison with Aguero last season, but this you can see he's getting fewer touches in the box. It's another indicator of what could explain the downside.
But the key for Aguero is his shots on target is low. So I mean, it does back up Raki's point there.
Well, it's lower. It's not low by any other striker's standard. I mean, I think there's only Pele really who's having trouble.
But then you look at Walcott as well. So you mean, as we mentioned just now, he's got that 11 shots on target. That's half of all his goal attempts are on target. I mean, that's a great return, and it's coming return. So he's getting the goals as well, and he's looking like he can score more.
Red Lightning came in with some metrics last week. He's got some more this week. I mean, I was talking about Sanchez ownership. He basically said here less than 7% of the top 10k in the world in FPL have Sanchez, which is, that's extraordinary, isn't it? And Jason Smith, who we mentioned, was one of them, and he captained him, and that's how he got up to 56 overall. 7% of the top 10k. It shows you how.
Yes,
people gave up on him.
I think it also shows you how price can determine a player, because I think he has had quite a lot of sellers, and probably not a lot of people started with him. So I think the price, that people get very twitchy when they've got a player who's not doing anything, and he costs 11 million. It's difficult once you haven't got him to actually get him into your side. Because you're going to end up selling, a Hazard or a Walcott or someone who's expensive but not expensive enough. He's like, you still need to find a couple of million from somewhere else. I mean, so that we all got him in our wildcards, I believe. That was I say that's the right time to get him in. The right time to get him in was last week, of course. But we never got ourselves into a position where we were thinking, I need to get in Sanchez this week. Because that week only came this week, really. Well, and you'd have missed out on the 20 points.
I mean, Red Lightning's metrics that he's telling us about here, I mean, further show how much Sanchez is a poster boy for our community. Because he runs, Red Lightning runs the top 10,000 any season mini league, which is so obviously by the very nature of it, it's going to have players that have done well in the past. All of the top 13 own him. But if you look at that overall, the top 10,000 is just 7%. So it shows how much of the top 10,000 in the rankings have probably played some kind of chip in the past. And he says that only two of his top 10,000 any season mini league are in the top 10,000. So this, hopefully for our listeners here and those follow the site and us three, this is indicating that the players that we've been going on about and keeping are coming into form. It's going to take people a while to get them, and we'll see a rise up the rankings.
This is my hope with Hazard. This is the whole theory behind it. That if he can come good, then suddenly I've got a player who others are going to really struggle to get back in. And the people who do own him, he is highly owned, but I think the people who do own him are probably a lot of ghost ship managers who may have given up the campaign already, who got him in early on and haven't touched their team since the start. So I think his ownership levels are quite false. I think if you look at Hazard in the top 10k, I'd have thought he'd be less than Sanchez. Probably.
Well, of course, because I think the top 10k is comprised of not just people who've been playing the chips, but just people who maverick players, because the big hitters haven't really been scoring. So you imagine that they've avoided players like probably Sanchez, Hazard, and Aguero, who up until last week hadn't done anything at all. And they've been scoring the points, from your Leicester players and from your Swansea players, and they've gambled with those cheaper players, and it's worked out for them. So that I think you can expect a bit of a shift in the next few weeks if those big hitters start doing okay. Because
it's a big if.
but it is difficult getting. There's the same thing about with Sanchez costing a lot and making it difficult to actually get him into your team now. It's the same with Hazard. So I of course I'd be kind of concerned if Hazard starts doing things and then I have to break up my team to get him in. I don't want it to happen. I just want him to not do anything for the next few weeks.
Of course you do, so you can maintain that lead over me. John T, one last question. Disables come up. No, sorry, Epic Fail brought this up, sorry. My jumper. I can't believe I'm getting flack for my fashion sense as well.
Yeah, you haven't got the famous jumper on. He's just basically asking us what are our opinions of it.
Well, I got a comment in the office, so people saying it's a bit early for a Christmas jumper. I didn't even think it was a jumper. I just thought it was a nice jumper, but obviously it's very objectionable.
I thought it was a new series of Danish crime drama, The Killing.
When was the last time you wore a jumper like that, John T?
I've never
not for a jumper. Never.
I was young, maybe 7 or 8. I do wear jumpers. But nothing like that.
It begs the question, do you think about what you look like before you come on here?
No. No, I don't think
about what
maybe
you look
we
like
should take more pride in our appearance and start dressing up for maybe we should wear tuxedos from now on.
Yeah,
or
that'd be good. No, I think it's a lovely jumper. I made the comment on site that I hope it wasn't made of synthetics for your massive inferno burning in defence.
Like it. Okay, Scoutcast bingo. Granville's oblivious to this. I'm sure there's some people with their dabbers out there who have been crossing some off, because I think we've mentioned a few, haven't we?
This is good. Yeah, this is from Num earlier. He decided to play a game with us, which may become a regular thing each week, of Scoutcast bingo, where he's looking at all the cliches and various things that we always say, and people who spot them get 1 or 2 points. So things like saying a differential, casual, blimey.
I haven't said it tonight.
You get one of the biggest scores is for the reappearance of the spider behind you, Mark. Pretty much any dog or animal sound gets 5 points. Name dropping of a former FPL winner gets 3 points. We haven't
done that tonight. No,
we haven't name dropped Tom Fenley. Oh,
no, we haven't. That doesn't count.
And Granville telling me that I will have such and such a player in my team in a few weeks.
Actually, I've got one. Is this one on there? Like you dropping in the Sturridge and Suarez double up.
Yeah.
You always bring
You've done that. You've done that already.
There was one thing that I hadn't brought up, but I'm going to do it now anyway. Which was a 10-pointer, which was bringing up that this is game week 8, and we all remember game week 8 last week with Tadic and Aguero. So I brought that up now. So
it's the anniversary of game week 8. We have mispronounced Alderweireld, so that's on there. Points. Yeah, we've had a mispronunciation. There's at least one of those every week.
I've also mentioned Duzra and his stats as well. That's another one.
Yeah. I used to complain every week that I hadn't had a penalty save up until I got a penalty save in about 2 seasons ago when Vaughan got one, but that used to come up all the time.
So we need to extend this, don't we, John T? We need to help them out with some more cliches. Well, we say cliches, it's the things that make the Scoutcast
we started off well. It says 3 points for any mention of Granville not being well.
Yeah, well, straight away we got that.
Do you know what? And there was also some points for Granville losing connection, which he did.
There's twice!
Double points for someone. Someone's captained that.
I thought you either didn't notice or you've just been polite not mentioning it.
No, we're professionals. We just carry on. We wade on regardless.
I don't know what's going on with my connection. I thought my wife was using the internet in the other room,
How dare she?
Streaming a film or something after I told her not to turn it on.
Unbelievable. That would be out of order. Okay, let's get on to captains to round things off. It's going to be pretty boring, isn't it, across the board?
Aguero. It's going to have to be, isn't it? If I don't do Aguero, which I know I am, but the other one is Vardy.
You can do Aguero.
There's only 2 players this week. There's only one player I'm convinced is going to do well, and that's Vardy. There's only one player that I'm mad enough to captain, and that's Aguero.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it myself, and I've only got 2 players away from. I've got Butland away from home at Villa, which is all right, and the other 2 I've got away from home are Mahrez and Vardy, who are very all right. So all the rest of my team are at home. So even if Aguero flunk, I should do all right. I should be okay. I should have a better than average game week. Touch wood. So I'm going to stick with Aguero. If last week I had 8 players away from home and it looked dodgy, and so I gambled on Hazard and it didn't. It was alright, but so I'm going to stay. So I'm a scaredy cat. What can I say? Granville?
I know. I'm 40-something points ahead of you. Did you realise that? 46. That's a significant gap. I think I should just start defending it already.
Already, you're going to start
take a risk, Mark. Your man Tony Marshall.
No.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I think I think actually Payet's more attractive as a differential captain for me. I think I'd like to do Marshall, but I think it could be tight, that game. It could be tight, but I don't think it's. I think West Ham are going to score at Stadium of Light. I'm sure they are. That would be the one I go for. I've got to think hard about it. The problem is I've got now is that I'm probably going to have to spend 4 points because of my mistake last week of actually not leaving any spare change from the Zuma transfer. I'm all spent up. So the only way for me to actually sell Wilson is to downgrade him, and the only choice for a downgrade really is the Watford striker. Igalo, and I'm not convinced that he's playing away from home. I'm just not sure that I want to go without Vardy, and the other player I looked at is Lukaku, obviously on the back of a big score. But they have got difficult fixtures, but I just quite fancy him. I think when he's in form, he's a player who can string together quite a few goals.
He's also he's an annoying player that does terribly against the teams you think he's going to do well against, and badly. And the thing is about Lukaku, he's got bad fixtures coming up. That's actually good news for Lukaku owners. So yeah, I think that's probably. I know,
and it doesn't always work when you look at fixtures. We've seen that all season, really.
Well, it doesn't with him for sure. Because Liverpool, Man United at home the next 2. Yeah, he could easily knock them over.
He's not fixture proof. He's fixture averse. He just.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point.
I can't believe though you made the error there, and you haven't got money to upgrade Wilson. So.
Well, I didn't foresee him getting a cruciate ligament injury, but I thought that I could go straight to Gusted, and I would do that. I had just an extra point too, but unfortunately I haven't. So I'd have to spend 4. I'm going to have to spend 4 whatever way, but I don't really want to spend 4 and then still only get Gusted. I don't know whether I can.
Oh dear!
I did have him. I did have him for a week. I sold it for Marshall, so.
Oh, so you got Marshall.
It's actually a kind of neutral transfer over.
You're down on that deal after Gusted's double at Anfield.
I'm not down. Well, I'm not. It's about even because Marshall scored a double, didn't he, against Southampton?
Oh yes, of course. You got in early. Yeah. Still, I reckon while I'm ablaze and there's an inferno behind me, just a little campfire in little Granville's team, just a little smouldering going on there with the Wilson injury and there's 4 points being spent. I just need Hazard to come good and I can start closing this gap. That is a big gap though. I'm slightly worried actually. I'm slightly worried by that. So. We'll see how it goes. Good luck for the game week, Jonty. Please, let's hope Kolarov can be revived. I really hope you haven't cursed him. I will say good luck to you, Granville, because I'm sporting like that, but obviously I don't really mean it. But yeah, I will say it. But it's best of luck for the weekend, everybody. Thanks for listening again. It's a good night from me.
Good night.
And good night from me.
Good night, all.